That's why I'm glad you guys never cancel unless it's weather.
Yes, we do. Okay, the popular idea is God is distant. The truth is God is near. Psalm 139, 7 through 12, James 4, 8. God is awesomely near to all of us. God's presence is not beyond the farthest star. He is as near as our next heartbeat. He does not just watch us, He is with us. We may feel that God is distant from us at times, even as believers, but that does not change the fact that He is near. David writes in Psalm 139, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence?" Psalm 139, 7, God is near us, whether we're thinking of Him or not, because His presence is everywhere. That is why James is able to give us this promise. Come near to God and He will come near to you. James 4:8. Though God in His greatness is above and beyond all created universe, He is at the same time right here with us, intimately involved in His creation. Our God is an awesome God. The popular idea is God watches our actions from afar. The truth is, God is intimately involved in every detail of our lives. And I find that God is more intimately involved if we let Him be intimately involved. If we consult Him for the small stuff, then we usually don't have as many big stuffs to worry about.
Right.
And one of my devotions this week that really emphasized thanking God when we pray to Him for the answer before we actually see it. That the saints of old thanked Him. They fully expected He was going to answer. And so that's why we should, this is Streams in the Living Desert. It's a great devotional that's all written by missionaries. And the missionaries all say, it's important to thank God. After you pray, you let it go and you thank Him. Because His timing is His, But you fully expect He's heard your detail or heard your prayer. And I never really caught that thanking Him before you see the actual answer. Right.
Something I've learned along the thankful lines is that even when it doesn't go our way, I want it this way, and God says no, we should be thankful, because oftentimes, the end result's always better, because God is so much wiser than we are.
In this
Often
timing,
it's a blessing.
His timing,
Right.
But we don't know that.
Yeah.
Blessing in
His timing
disguise,
is
Blessing
right.
in disguise, yeah.
So we're thankful. We should be thankful for everything. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you that her car broke down. Maybe she avoided an accident.
Yes.
See, that's like yesterday when we were trying to leave my brothers, we couldn't get out a certain way, so I said to Peggy, maybe we're not supposed to go that way, we're supposed to go this way. So, who
I
knows?
think it helps with our frustration level. Both Jimmy and I were so frustrated last night, we wanted to punch each other. We were just, And, if we would have both stopped and thought, okay, just take it as it goes. God doesn't want that to get done tonight.
Right.
So,
Right.
it didn't get done last night.
I've had days like that.
But we didn't handle it real well, so. Jesus tells us in Matthew 6:25 through 30 that God is interested in details like what we wear and what we eat and how we spend the hours of our day. That just reminds me of Nick, because y'all know Nick. And when he was a little guy and we would pray, and we're all praying for, the finances to go far and someone to be healed of cancer, and Lord, help my Lego thing to go together right.
That's
And just those
It was
childish,
innocent.
Yeah.
and it's just like, aw, and God cares about his little Lego things and his little childish issues. It really puts perspective on God cares.
Did he get, well, you can tell me later about his jobs.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. In Luke 12, he amazes us with the statement that God even has the hairs on our head numbered.
I always thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
For some aging pastors, God's job gets a little easier every day. Of course, with everybody, I think it gets easier every
It's
day.
easier for God to number my hairs every day too, because I lose some.
I know, and then, this is the way my silly mind works, is that our hairs don't stay the same from minute to minute.
No.
And God knows from minute to minute
How many?
how many hairs are on our
I know, I
head.
think that's
Nobody
amazing.
would fall out, you know?
I know.
Right.
Who knows?
Hair.
That's just amazing.
I don't know.
Just because the details of life don't always work out as we want them to, does not mean that God doesn't care about those details. He does. Many people think that they should save their times of talking to God for the big stuff. The problem with that is much of our life is caught up in the details, and we're left not talking to God about a large part of how we spend our days. Just look at the intricate design in a tiny flower, and you'll know God cares about the details. And I think, if we consult God more often with the smaller details of our life, like I use Christy for example, they've gotten to a point where, we gotta find a place to live now, and all the hole they've dug themselves into. But if they'd have learned 6 months ago, of course they wouldn't have learned it now, but they'd be further ahead in life if we consult God with the little things, right down to, God, should I have ice cream for breakfast or toast? What do you think?
Yeah.
I know I already know the answer to that one.
Yeah.
But my day will feel better if I eat a piece of toast as opposed to a bowl of ice cream. So, I don't have a whole lot more before I can sum up here. I'm coming to an end because I know it's coming to a good stopping point.
Okay.
The popular idea is God is anxiously awaiting to judge those who do wrong. Yes, us sinners in the hands of an angry God. The truth is, God is waiting to forgive all who ask. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Many people picture God in heaven with his finger on a button labeled, "Zap them now." Of course, God isn't like that. If he were, it wouldn't be safe to drive down the freeway because all the people he'd be zapping for what they were saying about all the other drivers, including you. The fact that God hasn't judged you for your sin is not because he hasn't noticed. He sees everything. It is because he is patiently waiting for you to ask him for forgiveness. And that's why we should be so forgiving of others. And that's so hard for me. I get so frustrated with people.
I think it's hard for everybody. I just think it's something that we want to do, but it just isn't always easy to do. Or maybe you think you've forgiven them, but then haven't really. Sometimes it just takes
struggle
time.
with that.
I mean, one time it took me over a year to finally realize that I forgave that person. I mean, I never treated him bad, but it took a lot of praying, and I pray and pray, but then I always would think, well, and then finally one day it's like the Holy Spirit just said, okay, and I felt, okay, it's finally gone. I mean, you can read all you want, but I didn't feel like it was really ever gone.
That's hard. And I find it easy to forgive someone till they act up again.
I know.
Till they insult my child again, and then it's like,
It starts all over again. Yeah.
It's hard to get rid of the resentment,
Or it's just not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not fair. The popular idea is God is either powerless against or doesn't care much about the evil in the world. Sometimes it looks that way.
Yeah.
The truth is, God allows an evil world to continue to exist so that more people might be saved out of it. That was an interesting revelation I came to one day. That if our lives were all easy, no pain, no broke, no heartache, no anything, we wouldn't need God.
Yeah.
We need him because
We grow in the
it's a
valleys.
broken world.
And
That's where we grow, is in the valleys
That,
and in the dark
yeah,
times.
that is so true, because like, I know Linda's gonna hear this, but she shared with me, you know, her work situation,
Mm-hmm.
and she feels like she's still, you know, in God's time He will help her, but she feels like this has brought her closer to the Holy Spirit because she needs Him. You know, and I thought that's true. We forget about that. That might be another reason God is not always answering right away. It's like with Christy, how long you waited, and I have to do that with my grandson and somebody else. Just can't give up. You just know that. I mean, you can't say, well, God's just not hearing me. We know He is, but He's got a reason.
He's got a reason.
And maybe for me too. Maybe it's a test for me too. Besides that person.
I know I've grown so much more through everything I've dealt with Christy, gone through with her than anything else in my life.
There's a great fiction book, one of my favorite Christian fiction books I've ever read, when I was a library media specialist, and a lot of people loved it, is Francine Rivers' book called Redeeming Love. And it's a retelling of the story of Gomer and Hosea in the Bible, but it's set in California, and it's that pursuing hound of heaven, you know, just even when the person doesn't receive the love, just keep on loving. It's the most beautiful book. So if you ever like Christian fiction, I highly recommend Francine Rivers' book. You can get it from any public library, and it's called Redeeming Love. It's just, yeah, and it's a retelling. She took the story from the Bible and just put a new setting in it. And it's probably my favorite all-time Christian fiction book ever. Beautiful story.
We have time for one more little paragraph
yeah,
here.
we can.
That God's powerless, that part. The truth is, God allows it for a reason. When someone says, I can't believe in a God who would callously allow children to suffer or rapes to occur, you can say to them, I don't believe in that kind of God either. I believe in a God who, more than you and I, cares about the hurts over the sinful things we do to each other. I believe in a God who will one day stop evil in its tracks by shutting down this world and taking us to live with Him in a perfect place called heaven. The only reason He hasn't already done it is because He is waiting for more people to trust Him so they can spend eternity with Him. In order to give more people the opportunity to come to know Him, He is willing to endure more hurt and pain than we can imagine over the evil that we do to ourselves. And that's a decent slapping.
All right, we'll start, like, for us, we'll start on page, the top of 36.
36.
How do you like my bookmark?
Lovely.
I love them. I've got one in here. I've got one. I don't know where they all are, but
Where
they're
did
all
you get
yours.
those?
Janine and Connie gave them to me for
Oh,